Hello and welcome to Extreme Academy Live. This is where you come to advance your knowledge, advance your skills and advance your future. This is the Advance Your Career course. We're into week 3 out of 4, and once we're done, after week 4, we're going to open up an exam. You'll be able to take that exam, pass it, and get another certification and a badge for your resume free of charge from Extreme Networks. So I'm here with Claire again. Hi Claire, how are you?
Hi Rowan, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Now we've got Isaac in the show as well. Now Claire, last time I spoke to Isaac, he was trying to sort out his outdoor wireless on his house. Do you want to? I don't think he's in. Do you want to see if you can get hold of him? I'll finish.
Yeah, I mean, he's always getting himself into some tricky spots, isn't he? So yeah, absolutely. I will give him a call and see how he's getting on with that.
So while you're doing that, let me just for everybody, let me just set expectations on who this is for and what we're doing. So this course is all about helping people join the IT industry, helping them get their first job. So it's really about delivering some foundation skills, breaking down some barriers, demystifying some of the jargon that we have. So it's all about helping people join the IT industry, helping them through that interview and kind of making our industry an appealing place to work, because we've got a skills gap. We've got a big skills gap in the IT industry, and we know there's a lot of people out there in the world right now who are thinking about their careers, thinking about retraining if their current industry is in disruption at the moment. Now, if you're an experienced IT professional and you join Extreme Academy, then you're welcome too. So you're welcome to stick around with us, hang out, join in with the vibe. You can encourage others and share your perspectives with the rest of the class. So Claire, have you managed to reach him? Is he coming on?
I've reached him. Whether he's reached what he needs to reach, I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll find out later if he was able to get the job done.
Okay, all right. We got Isaac coming in very shortly then. So Claire, why don't you do the normal reminder on how people can engage, how they can interact with the rest of the group and the Extreme team?
Absolutely. So yeah, week 3, same as always, please chuck us your comments in the YouTube chat if you are watching live. If you're watching on demand, the comments are open on YouTube as well. The team are there. We are replying to those comments. And then finally, our Discord server. So we'll chuck the code up one more time for you guys, and yeah, join our Academy community.
Thanks Claire, and that community and Discord is growing week by week. I've got some interesting conversations going in there, so thanks for joining in. Thanks to the moderators again who are helping us run that Discord channel. So Claire, I think we're ready to get going. Shall I do a bit of a quick intro into what we've got on this week?
Yeah, absolutely. I like our first feature, my favorite, Megatrends. Yeah, tell us what it's all about.
Well, this week it's all about as a service and cloud. Now, as a service is one of those bits of jargon that is used all over the IT industry, all over the tech sector, and it's something that kind of we know what it is and we know where it's come from. But if you're outside the industry, it's like, you're like, well, what is that? What is this S and S, S? All these abbreviations that have cropped up over time. We're gonna demystify that. And This one's an easy one to get your head around because we use it all the time. We're using it right now. You're watching YouTube. Probably every IT tool that you've got that you use for work or for school, that's some kind of IT delivered to you as a service. So we're gonna talk about what that means from an IT perspective, from an IT professional perspective. So John's gonna introduce this, and then me and Claire will come back. We'll talk about that some more, and then we'll introduce Isaac, and he's going to bring it to life. And what we're trying to do here is trying to give you stories that you can retell in interviews, so they can become your stories. Think about those like a story bank. So we're filling up your story bank. So week 1 we talked about working from home. That's a mega trend. Then we did mobility last week. This week's it's all about as a service. Let's roll the video.
Hello and welcome to Megatrends. I'm John Barger. Each week we'll be walking you through the biggest megatrends in the industry and what you as a job seeker need to know about them. Those megatrends are working from home, mobility, as a service, as well as artificial intelligence and machine learning. As we go through each of these, you'll see how they're interconnected and interdependent. But before we get started, let's find out what some Extreme employees feel about this week's Megatrend.
Clouds is clouds or clouds is clouds?
Whatever you think a cloud is.
A cumulus is a cloud.
Cumulus clouds.
Well, I'm sticking with cumulus nimbus.
Cumulonimbus.
Obviously, we're going to start with Extreme Cloud, Extreme Cloud IQ,
We've got our XIQ,
You could say AWS, Google, Extreme,
AWS,
AWS,
Amazon AWS is a cloud.
Azure,
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 Google Cloud Platform.
Apple has a cloud, you've got iCloud.
The ones that block out the sun.
A bunch of smoke floating around, which is also a cloud.
That's a tricky one, that is.
Today on Megatrends, we'll be talking about as a service. Megatrends are aspects to life, work, or communication that have rapid and wide impact. As a service is practically a stealth mode megatrend that's been impacting your life for years. As a service is the process of offloading the hosting and maintenance of a personal or business function to a third-party cloud-based service. Sounds confusing, doesn't it? It's really not. There are many types of cloud-based services. The most common is software as a service, or SaaS. This could be an accounting system, an HR record-keeping system, a network management system, or any number of other types of software. There's also data as a service, compute as a service, infrastructure as a service, and so many more. But again, the most common use case that you'll run into is software as a service. It may surprise you to find out that you've been using as a service for a very long time. When was the last time you rented a DVD or Blu-ray? When was the last time you sat down at the kitchen table to fill out paper checks to pay your bills and then mailed them out? Physical mail with stamps. Depending on your age, you may have never done either of these things. For most of the rest of us, it's been 10 years or more. Now we just flip to Netflix, Hulu, or some other streaming service. Almost any movie or TV show is at our fingertips with virtually no effort. Not only that, but we can access them at any time, anywhere, on almost any device. Many of our bills are paid automatically, and the rest are taken care of with just a few taps on our phone. Look at how you're consuming this training course. You're not commuting to school, trying to get to classroom on time. You're not listening to in-person instructions. You're learning at your own pace in the way that works best for you. As a service is all about flexibility. And when it's done right, it reduces cost, time, and stress. Let's look at a few more examples. Do you have security cameras at home? Are they wired to a video recorder, or do they send their video feeds to a cloud service like Ring or Nest? Do you back up your phone to a computer, or does it automatically get backed up to a cloud service like iCloud or Google Drive? Now, most of you will have answered cloud, but some people choose the other option. Why? It's obviously easier and more resilient to use that cloud service. Those services also continually add new features that improve the experience and usefulness of that service. This is rarely true for self-hosted systems. While many people like to control every aspect of their experience, maybe they want to record the video in a specific resolution or format. Perhaps they want to tune the night vision capabilities of the camera. Or maybe they have security concerns. Security camera footage might contain sensitive content, especially if those cameras are inside. Your phone contains passwords, pictures, and other content that you might not want falling into the wrong hands. How do you know you can trust the company that runs this service? What about their disgruntled or dishonest employees? While many aspects of IT have already moved to as a service, some IT professionals are hesitant for similar reasons. They might want to control every aspect of their infrastructure. This means that they are willing to put in much more effort and take more risk to keep all of their systems in an environment that they control and pay for. In many ways, this is old school thinking. Many enterprise as a service offerings give you nearly the same level of control as a self-hosted system. In some cases, they can give you even more control. Security is a valid concern, and here I am not going to downplay it. Security should be of the highest priority to any IT professional. If it's not, they won't be in their role for very long. That being said, cloud-based services can be just as secure, if not more secure, than any self-hosted platform. But you need to do your homework. Be sure that the cloud service that you partner with runs regular third-party audits and maintains industry-recognized security certifications. If they don't, ask them why. I would be very hesitant to trust my valuable corporate assets to such a service. As you progress in your learning journey and your career, keep an eye out for aspects of your personal and professional life that seem antiquated, slow, or cumbersome. Are these areas that could benefit from a cloud-based service? How would you make that move happen? Moving to as a service can be a hard decision for many IT leaders. It's a good thing they have you and me to help them get there. I hope you found this edition of Megatrends helpful and are enjoying your journey into IT with Extreme Academy Live. Thank you.
Wow, thanks so much, John. As a service, what an amazing megatrend. I am just obsessed with this megatrend because it affects my life so much. I can't believe how much I looked at as a service to service my life. I'm always on Netflix, I'm always on my banking app, I'm always on Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, so interesting to see how far as a service has come over the years, and it's just going to keep evolving. So I think off the back of that, Rowan, in an interview, what would we be asking people around as a service, or the security of as a service, and what sort of answer would we want to hear from the people out there?
I think if somebody's coming in for a job interview, and let's say it's their first job, so it's your first job in IT, then you're kind of entering the IT world. A little bit like you were saying there, Claire. It's like everything is delivered over the cloud. It's delivered as an app. It's delivered as a service. So that's the world you live in today. So I think I'd be looking to see whether they had a perspective about where we've come from. So what's been the transit? So what was it like before everything was as a service, and try and understand, well, what were the limiting factors in that change, and the reason why that's interesting is because all of our organizations, companies, they move at different pace, they move at different speeds. So some companies are out there doing this, they're leading the way, they've built businesses around it. There are other organizations and there are other places in the world where they're moving slower, and they're moving slower for really good reasons, quite often because of security or governance or just cultural differences in the way people think about privacy and security. So just the fact that we in IT and you may be living that now, I think I'd be in an interview, I'd be trying to check whether the candidate had an awareness that not everybody is moving at the same speed. So try and understand that actually there is a resistance to change in some areas of IT, and I'd probably want to have a conversation about how would they mitigate that if they were in that situation. How would they go, how would they and the answer really is really focus around governance and process and security and certifications and things like this that really assure people that that moving to this kind of architecture is safe. So I think that's it, Claire. I think it's really trying to we can all see the benefits, but does the candidate understand the process of change that has gone on or would need to go on?
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. And whether you're looking to change quickly or whether you are one of those slower organisations, I'm sure you've got valid points to why you're doing what you're doing. Touching on that point, I think anyone who's here live or chat or comments, we'd love to know if any of you are still using any non-cloud-based applications and what you're using them for, because as we said, we've all got valid points, valid reasons to why we're moving in the direction that we're moving. So yeah, I'd love to hear what people are using at the moment and how you're using it. So following that, oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, we'll move on. I was giving people a chance to answer in the chat, but that's fine. So first, second feature, what are we doing, Ryan?
Well, we've got Isaac on the road. We've sent him out on the road again to try and bring this mega trend to life. So he's gone out in his own style. He's gone out, and again he's what you can see now is Isaac digging into this mega trend of as a service. He's bringing it to life, and he's going to add to your story bank, which could help you in an interview. So let's roll the video. Let's go on the road.
So where are we headed today?
So I'm doing a piece on as a service, and we're going to meet someone who's built a business around as a service, and it's really interesting, and I'm looking forward to the interview. So I should be there in about an hour or so. There you go.
So my name is Suzanne Penyong, and I run a virtual assistant company called Yes Virtual Assistants, and we offer a range of different solutions to our clients that are all online and on demand and on the clock. So we offer kind of flexibility and different services.
When we think about as a service, we kind of always think about it as related to the IT industry, because there's a lot of different things like, Amazon Cloud. You are using computing power as a service. You only pay for what you need.
Absolutely.
But then I saw your things on LinkedIn and your company, and I was like, wow, so as a service is actually not just about IT. So tell me about how you think about as a service, that phrase that you used for your company. Describe what are your thoughts about as a service, what it means to you.
Well, I guess what it means to us is organisational and administrative solutions. So those are things that, as you rightly say, we provide as a service, and you literally only pay for what you need. So for example, when you could have one of these services in-house, so one of your employees could be providing one of our services, but you're not just paying for the service.
How does what you do differentiate from a temp agency, right?
The way that Yes differentiates from that kind of service is that you really only pay for what you need. Yes can provide an executive assistant who will be working remotely, only remotely. Therefore, they're not using up any of your desk space. They're not even using your Wi-Fi. They're logging into your systems remotely. In addition, we work in chunks of 15 minutes. So from my experience of temp agencies, you would be paying a minimum of, say, 4 hours. If on a Monday there's not much work for the executive assistant, they might log in for 15 minutes, check their emails, log out again, no action. Come the Tuesday, they might log in for an hour and a half. Well, you'd be hard pushed to find that with a temp agency, where they're going to get someone to come in-house and work for a set period. They're going to want to pay that person for more than 15 minutes, and therefore the client would be billed for the full slot, if you see what I mean.
If you were hiring, let's say, a temp, you would be perhaps hiring somebody with general skills. If you wanted somebody specific, for example, with French, then you could hire, it's almost like you could hire a specific skill rather than a person for a period of time. Would that kind of be the type of thing that you're talking about as a service?
Yeah, that's completely accurate. Yes, that's possible. So for example, today, now in addition to the personal executive assistants, we also offer bookkeeping. We also offer graphic design. So these are things that you can kind of mix together, perhaps dip in and out of different services from one month to another, but still work with a trusted provider.
Okay, so you would become the trusted provider, and the customer trusts you to provide those specific services for them, which could be done by one person or multiple people, right?
Absolutely.
When you started your business, at that point in time, was the concept, the phrase as a service already common? You know, did you go into it and think, I'm going to do, you know, virtual assistants as a service? Did you already think at that time about that this was going to be as a service, or did it start off as, hey, I'm going to do virtual assistants, and then it kind of progressed to the point where we now kind of talk about it as a service?
Well, I think for me, it was always there, and that's partly because when you work even in-house or as a temp, as a executive or personal assistant, you're very much in a service-based role. You're providing assistance, you're a service provider, and I've always had that in mind. It's a very different role from, say, being a revenue generator or, you know, in an advisory position. It's you execute the tasks and you find the best way of doing it.
So essentially, you're a VAS, which is virtual assistant as a service, right?
Yes, if you like.
I guess you probably sign NDAs, or I suppose your customers would ask that the people that work for you sign NDAs. Is that kind of how it works, that you get to that level of trust?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have pretty solid paperwork in that, yes, makes an agreement with a client, which includes, you know, non-disclosure. You know, we're also registered with the ICO for data protection, and we follow all of GDPR guidelines. Every associate that we work with, you know, who's on our team, does exactly the same and is then, you know, contracted in to work with us as well. That's not always enough, though, in my opinion, because paperwork is there obviously to protect us, but we also need to be able to prove to clients that, you know, that we are, you know, genuine, trustworthy, capable, and, you know, that we can take all of this personal data and behave responsibly with it. There's a kind of a human element here that is really important, especially when you're talking about, you know, maybe dealing with somebody's medical notes, maybe helping them move house after a divorce, like all sorts of things that, you know, people can feel very sensitive about, and they want to be able to trust the person who's going to be assisting them. You know, that's very much our role. So it's just important to place the right people, get those personalities gelling, and, you know, when that happens, then obviously trust can be built over time. And things like video really help, don't they? Because, you know, a phone call's okay, but when you can actually see a person, you know, I think it's human nature to bond with that person a little bit more.
I suppose that a lot of your business could still be done just by talking to somebody on a phone call, which is also carried by Megatrends.
Who does that?
But ultimately,
yeah,
Megatrends are an enabling technology for you, right? And for your customers. Without those networks, so many things that we now have taken for granted, like the, you know, the webcams and doing all that, just didn't exist, right? So if your networks are down, your business is in trouble.
Yes.
That's a good one, right? That's a good one. We're in a good industry. we're in a good industry, yeah.
I don't always know exactly where home is, though, because as you say, they could be working from a coffee shop. They could actually be on holiday working from their hotel room. And
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to me, and there's definitely no judgment there apart from, you know, positive, because, you know, everyone needs a holiday.
Sure.
And so long as the work gets done, then I think it's absolutely perfect. And it's the reason why many people, you know, move to, you know, online working and flexible working and so on, because you know, we're no longer, or we shouldn't, you know, be any longer in this whole culture where we need to work from a specific location when tech is on our side.
I like that phrase. Note that. When tech is on our side. That's such a good phrase. I hadn't heard that before. Where is the enterprise now? Well, it's infinite. It doesn't, there is no physical location anymore. It's wherever you have a network, wherever you have internet, that's your enterprise.
And I mean, that ties in with what you were saying before about, well, actually, you know, yes, yes does rely on, an internet connection, and yes, it is a supposed disaster if the connection fails, but can I not just move to a different location and do the same work? So how much of an inconvenience would that really be for our clients if the network failed? If Wi-Fi goes off at home, well, I can come to my office. If the office doesn't have Wi-Fi, I can go to a coffee shop. Even our local park has Wi-Fi.
We talk about an infinite enterprise, but we also talk about an infinite network.
Completely.
But the internet is an infinite network. The fact that you don't have it here is irrelevant. You can go somewhere else.
It's a mild inconvenience.
I like those terms. I'm going to use a lot of the terms that she says.
I'm credited.
They're really good. Those terms are really good. Like, oh, I need to come talk to you. You got a lot of terms I can use in Extreme Academy. One of the other things that networks, the infinite networks, have done for us is infinite networks have meant that perhaps previously the type of job that you now do was limited to location. In other words, maybe people in the UK, but now it's like if I'm sitting in Saudi Arabia or if I'm sitting in Australia and it's evening for me in Australia and I need something done in the morning, well, no problem. I can find as a service and have it done by the time I wake up.
Yeah.
Location doesn't really matter. But do you see that happening more? Have you seen it happen?
Yes, we have seen it happen, and we do work internationally, and it's something that I would really like us to expand because, as you rightly say, you can use time zones to your advantage. So yes, location doesn't matter, but it also matters a lot because we can really use it to our advantage when we're offering our services to clients internationally.
You could be running here a multi-million-pound business because it doesn't matter. As long as these people are working for you from all over, from every time zone, you will grow and your business will prosper and you will have other people managing in different parts of the world. And one day I'll come here and you'll send a chauffeur in a Bentley to pick me up because that's how these things work.
Don't you need a helicopter?
I'm thinking small, sorry.
I absolutely loved talking to Suzanne. Suzanne, thank you so much for the time and for allowing me to come into your business, for allowing Extreme Academy to come into your business and take some of your valuable time. It's been absolutely fascinating to see how as a service is much more than just massive enterprise. As a service allows a small entrepreneur to be able to grow their business and become a massive player in a completely new industry. Who would have imagined virtual assistant as a service? Fantastic.
Welcome back. I'm back with Claire. That was really interesting, and what stood out for me was the fact that you've got a business there that was kind of created in the as a service world. It's a business delivering their services as a service, and they are a small organization that have got a global reach. So it's incredible. What do you think, Claire?
Yeah, I mean, just even that slide that Isaac showed with all those different applications that I'm so familiar with, and I think everyone at home will be familiar with as well. Email, Office 365, Excel. These are as a service applications that we all use, and I think it somehow gets lost a little bit that we don't realise how enabling these applications are to, like you say, people's organisations, businesses, and even just you at home. It's amazing.
It is, and there's another point I want to make. Just tie this part of the episode together is. When you go for jobs, you might find yourself in a couple of broad categories. You could be going to work for a technology company that is delivering those services. They could be the vendor. They could be a company like Extreme. So you are a technology company. You're bringing your services and your value to market through the cloud, through as a service. So that's why you need to understand the jargon, the kind of the next level of this is understanding the architecture of how these things work. But you might find yourself in that position, or you may be working for a company or an organization who is trying to unlock the value and the benefits of delivering services to their customers or their employees by transitioning to transitioning their business model to utilize this kind of service. So then if you're on that side, then you really having to think about the business impact. There's a lot about innovation. There's some really exciting transitions going on in the marketplace. Some have already happened, but there's still lots and lots to go. So think about that. There's lots of opportunities, but the kind of roles that you get could play out slightly differently depending on whether you're a vendor of the technology or whether you're a user of the technology. So Claire, let's switch gears now. So we've done Megatrends. Hopefully we'll put something new in your story bank. So what's coming up next, Claire?
So next we've got our careers in IT section. We're speaking to Wouter, who is a VSAM for Extreme. And if you don't know what a VSAM is, he is going to tell us. So roll the tape.
Okay.
Happy?
Yep.
We'll probably do that one again if it's fine.
My name is Wouter Toet and I work for Extreme Networks. We are a network vendor. We are registered on NASDAQ, so we're a trading company. And we basically specialize in making network easier for our customers. So I'm a VSAM. It is basically virtual sales account manager. It's desk-based, so I can work from home. And the idea is that we follow up the large majority of pipeline and help assist the account executive who's on the road. And basically we're the bridge between customer, partner, and distributor. I love playing football with my son. So every day when he's with me, we go to the park, kick about, run about, and that is all I do. That the pain was real back then. The pain was real. It took almost like a month before you actually got connected, and about 5 minutes before you actually had the news up and running. No, not really. I always thought that networking was really difficult, complicated, too much technology involved. Your technical expertise needed to be there. But actually, it's not really true. Yeah, I only had 3 chats in Extreme. One was with John, he's an account executive in Holland. We talked about some of the cases that we had of customers. The second interview was with Henk, who was our country manager. And then 2 interviews on the same day in the Reading office, where we're now. And that was with James, who was the inside sales manager. And that was just casual chat and just sort of, do you fit into the culture? And the one thing that I enjoyed was we hire people based on culture, not on CV. Funny enough, it was PE. You cannot tell by my physical state now, It's been a couple of years. But yeah, I was very athletic back in the day. We all make mistakes, Luckily, Extreme is not a company where you cannot make mistakes. We encourage it sometimes. The only 2 things that you need to really do is take ownership and take accountability for it. And August will be my 2-year anniversary. It's a mix of both, because I work remote, it's work from home. But I work for a channel team in the NEE region. So we have 17 people altogether in the team. It's based of VSAMs and partner account managers. The bottom line is we only win when the customer wins. So for me, a little project for a school is just as important as getting a big deal in. Yeah, so I've completed for almost 2 years running now the Spark and Dojo programs that we do. Then the ESS, the cloud course. I've done the first academy with Isaac. So big shout out to you, Isaac. And and I'm now doing this one. So for instance, with Isaac's one, that was really about, where does it all come from? What does Wi-Fi mean? What does the standard mean? Where does the technology come from? How does it fit in with our portfolio? So it's making things understandable in ways that everybody can understand. It will be the whole of the international team because we all do it together, and in particular my AE Patrick. The big thing on the desk was about that size. Yeah, it was awesome,
Love Tetris.
It was a good workout if you have to carry one. Yeah. I would love to lead the VSAM team international. And if not, if I have to choose something else, it would be part of your guys' team and helping VSAMs develop and base it on a VSAM level. So being able to do technical stuff on an understandable way. So we do it, everything we do is via channel. So we have distributors that have partners, and the partners sell locally to the end customer, the people that are going to use our products. Right? So our responsibility really is driving the sort of education, the technology force to the disties, enabling partners to sell our solution to the customer, and we help them along that journey. Somebody that's open, that is helpful to others, and responds at an appropriate time.
Okay.
Awesome.
That was it?
Yeah.
Done.
Cool.
Yeah, happy. Thanks, Wouter. How interesting. Another different type of role within IT. Rowan, you've got some thoughts on sales. I know you've done it for a little while. I won't say how long, but so what do you think with, how can we help someone that was maybe going for a sales role within IT or just, had some ideas around sales and wanted to move into that area?
Yeah, I love Wouter's piece. A few thoughts on sales as a career. If you've not worked in sales, you might look at it and think, oh, that's not for me. Selling, it's for fast-talking people who could, go out there and sell ice to Eskimos, and that's the image you have in your mind of a salesperson. But in IT, it's different. In IT sales, it's a very technical conversation. So. And in fact, Claire, what we find, and this is true in most technology organizations, the best sellers, the best salespeople were engineers. They were engineers at some point. They understand the product in detail, and then they become sales engineers or SEs. Some companies call them systems engineers or sales engineers, but they're technically minded people that can go and work with the end customer or a group of partners working on a deal, and talk about the solution. They match up what the customer's trying to do to what the vendor, their company, is able to deliver, and they come up with a solution. So it's a real, when you're a seller within the IT organization, you're more acting like a kind of trusted advisor. You're a technical advisor as opposed to being that fast-talking salesperson. Now you have to develop some of those commercial skills about pricing and negotiation and presentation. So it is different to an engineering job. But I just wanted to share that, Claire, that when you're selling in IT, it's not how you might imagine. So I definitely encourage people to think about that as a career path, and it can be a very, very rewarding career path.
I think like Walter was sharing, he does all the internal training, which keeps him up to date with, like I say, all the technical knowledge that he needs to share, you know, with his customers. So yeah, I think it's just always being that one step ahead of the game in sales. And like I said, there's so many more levels to it than just selling. So yeah, very interesting role for sure.
Absolutely. So let's move on now. We're going to do being a better human. So this week, so being a better human is all about some soft skills, some things that are important in business, they're important in the technology sector, and we wanted to cover them in this course. And this week I'm talking to Nicola. Nicola is the director of the HR Human Resources Organisation in our international markets, and we talked about giving back or corporate social responsibility. So have a look at this. This is something that you definitely want to have an awareness of to help you through an interview, and it's just a great thing to know as well. It's a great thing to have an awareness of and be directly involved in. So let's roll the video. This is Being a Better Human. Hi there, I'm here with Nicola Cherry, and we're talking about being a better human. Yeah, helping you become a better human. That's quite ambitious, isn't it, Nicola?
It really is. Hi, everybody.
Well, we're serious about it. We've got some topics that we're going to cover each week here in Extreme Academy, and these are the topics that companies really care about, and they probably don't really cover them at school. You might have heard about them at college. Maybe they were touched on in university, but these are hot topics, and these are the topics going to help differentiate you against your peers when you're going for that job you really want, or when you're trying to progress through an organization. So this week we're talking about giving back, volunteering, or CSR. There's lots of words for it. So Nicola, why don't we start just by defining what CSR, what that acronym stands for, and what it means to companies like Extreme.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it is one of those acronyms that people have probably heard but don't necessarily fully understand. So CSR stands for Corporate Social Responsibility, and it basically means that companies have an important role to play in society, not just from a financial perspective, but more from a philanthropic perspective too. So things like environmental issues, which are hugely prevalent in society at the moment, giving back. So one of the things you mentioned, be that charitable donations or volunteering days, that sort of activity. So outside of the financial remits of the company. It's really expected in society now that companies do this, and it is really important for companies to be seen to be corporately and socially responsible. I'd summarize it as being a good corporate citizen. Ultimately, it ties into ensuring that we have an overarching view of wider society, what's important out there in society, and making sure that we represent that, give back to it, but also have all of those viewpoints included within our organisation.
Nicola, what's the difference between somebody in the audience now, what's the difference between somebody who really embraces that versus somebody who say doesn't have any awareness of it?
Yeah, so from a company perspective, and when we're looking at bringing talent into the organisation, it's really important for us to see individuals in their true selves. So whatever that looks like. And for people who are truly embedded into the importance of this type of activity, they just bring an entirely different view, one that we embrace and we need to hear about as an organisation as we grow. We need people to bring their whole selves to work. And by doing that, we have a true diversity of view, of opinion, with that breeds innovation and, great success. So it's really important for us to see right from the outset that people have this in them and that they view it as important. It isn't just something that we do, it's something that we believe in and something that we strive for. And so if we can see that in individuals right from the outset, it stands everyone in really good stead to get that really whole view of society and getting all of those different opinions and ideas to the table.
So amazing words you used there. So it's about belief in what they were doing. It's not just about ticking a box and having done some voluntary hours and putting it on your resume. It's about why did you do that?
Absolutely. And that's what it is for Extreme as well. So we have, there is an expectation that we have a CSR policy, but it's much more than that. It's about wanting and believing and really driving to make the changes within society and giving that back. And we want to see that reflected in our individuals coming into the business and into the industry generally as well.
So Nicola, do you have any advice for the people watching on how they should think about this, what they should do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first and probably most important piece of advice is be confident in who you are. Companies like Extreme want to see you and what you stand for and what you believe in. So be confident in that. I guess the next thing is to think about what that actually looks like. What does your whole self truly look like? And bring that to the table, be it interview at the start of your career, every interaction you have as you go into the industry and with companies, it's good to just truly understand what that looks like for you and to bring that to the table.
Great advice. Final question. So imagine you're interviewing somebody. So it's somebody in our audience watching this now. Imagine you're interviewing somebody. What's your top question that you would ask to try and draw out this topic and try and find out? Are they really on this? Do they really know what's required?
Okay, good question. I think one of the questions I would ask is, if I were to ask your closest friend, what drives and motivates you, what would they say? And the reason I do that is it's very easy for me to ask an individual what drives or motivates you. But to take it to a third person and think about, is that what I actually project out, is really important. So I get much more from a question about a third person in their life, a close friend or a family member, than often just asking directly what drives or motivates you.
Okay, wow, you got me thinking now. I'm now thinking. Are you thinking about that? So think about that question. That's the kind of thing that you get in interviews, especially in corporate organisations in the IT industry like Extreme. So have a think about that. Nicola, maybe an idea is that somebody may want to go and talk to their peer group, a friend or a family member, and ask them. Maybe talk about that.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah. It's really good to get that other perspective and to bring that with you, because you need to know how you're presenting yourself as well and how other people see you, not just how you see yourself.
Fantastic. Well, Nicola, thank you. Thanks for taking some time to talk to the Extreme Academy team. This has been Being a Better Human. Look out for more topics like this. And now we'll head back to the studio.
Thank you.
So that was a bit about giving back from Nicola and Rowan. That last question has really got me thinking. You would want to make sure you ask the right friend, right, what they think of you, and not one that you maybe go down the pub with on a Saturday night. But that has definitely got my brain ticking over how someone else would describe me. Very interesting question.
That's great advice, Claire. I think choose your friend wisely and choose the location wisely. Don't ask that question when you're down the pub and you've already late in the evening one night. That may not go well. Do you know the other thing that struck me after that conversation with Nicola? I think it was about choice of who you work for. So what we've been talking in this course, we're trying to help people with advice on how to get a job, but as the employee, you've got a choice. You can choose who you work for. That's up to you. And I'd really encourage everybody to, when they're going through the interview process, go and look at the CSR, the Corporate Social Responsibility Charter of that company, you ask them that question in the interview. Ask them what what their charter is and what they believe in, and just check, just be sure that CSR policy they have aligns with what your beliefs are, because if there is an alignment there, you're going to love working for that company, because you're going to get involved in all kinds of things that are going to be helping the community you live in and hopefully the world in general. So that's a tip. Go and look at that. If that company doesn't have a CSR policy, then I'd suggest that might not be a great place to work. So you should make that choice. So Claire, absolutely. I think we're up on time, Claire. Now we're coming to the end. So any final shout outs before we close up?
Yeah, standard shout outs. We love to hear from you in the chat, in the comments on YouTube, and obviously Discord. So yeah, join our Discord Academy community. We love to hear from you, and there's some really good conversations going on there. So again, thank you for attending week 3. We love having you.
And don't forget to subscribe if you're watching in YouTube and you're not subscribed to the channel. Click that button, click the notification bell as well, and then you can get an automatic update on when new things come out from Extreme. So same place, same time next week. Next week's week 4. After that, it's the exam, so it'll be exam time. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Take care.
Dad, Rowan's been looking for you. He doesn't know where you are. He asked me to come find you and tell you to come down.
Oh boy. Oh man. Okay, I'm coming down.
You're in so much trouble.